Intradimensional and extra-dimensional attentional set shifting is a very important technique that is used in humans with tests like the Cantab or the Wisconsin card sorting, and is also used in mice very frequently, most of the times, in a manual and time-consuming manner. What we're showing today is the Ugo Basile Operon, which we developed together with the Italian Institute of Technology, which is a system to automate the attentional set shifting experiments with 3 dimensions. And these 3 dimensions are tactile dimensions, lights, and odors, as you can see from this 10-channel odor air delivery. So we will now go through the different components of the system and then show you how they are all controlled through the Animaze software. So let's start from this device, which is both an inflow and outflow generator of scents, of different odors that are put inside these single controlled flow meters with 2 master flow meters, and the outflow and the inflow can be adjusted together with the master outflow. So this is an air generator, but is also an air suction device. And the reason for this is that, as you can see from here, inside each nose spoke there is actually a system which is very similar to what we use in anesthesia masks with a negative pressure system. So on one hand the air is sent out, and on the other hand the air with the odor is aspirated back, so that basically you can change the odor without having the odor in the chamber, but only in the nose spoke. And this allows to work on the dimension odor. Then, as we said, the other dimension is tactile. So, as you can see from here, when the animal nose pokes, he actually will have to sit onto a texture, which we have in 6 different types that are very easy to change, as I will show you in a minute. So you can simply see it from here, how this revolver changes the textures that we deliver in this way, from very smooth to sandpaper. And you can also customize it with your own type of textures. Within each nose spoke, there is a photo beam, so that you can measure the nose spokes and the successes of the animal, of what you're asking in the test. And there are also lights. So the 3rd dimension is light, and you can do intra-dimension or extra-dimensional attentional set shifting experiments here. Now, all of this is simply connected through tubing. We provide all the necessary tubing and all the necessary connections. It can also be added with a camera for video tracking, although it is not necessary for the experiment. And as you can see from here, also the connection is really straightforward. So you have one cable that goes to the Operon, one that goes to the right olfactory, one that goes to the left olfactory, and one that goes to the PC. So I will now show you from the PC, and I will remove the lid just so that you can see better what is happening inside the chamber. This is the I/O section of Animaze. And when the animal does a wrong response, what happens is that these lights here that are white and that we call house lights within the software turn on. So what I will do now is showing you how this works, so, and how they actually turn on. When I click here, you will see the light turning on here. I will now operate the door. because the beauty of this system is that you can do a whole series of experiments, from simple discrimination to compound discrimination to reversal learning and so forth, with the animal moving from one chamber to the other. So when the animal has completed a trial or a number of trials that you consider the success in a stage, the door will open, and in the meantime this other side will be already set for the next stage in the procedure that we give for the device. So now I will show you how the door works. As you can see, it is very smooth, and obviously also you can hear this click, which is the switching on of the different odors. If we go into the pellet dispensers, which are also special Ugo Basile pellet dispensers, you can see how they operate. We have this pellet dispenser in which we can deliver a pellet. So basically, every time that the animal has done what he has to do and the test is accomplished, a pellet will be dispensed. Consider that these pellet dispensers are quite sophisticated because there is a system to check if the pellet has really been dispensed, and if not, the pellet keeps rotating until it really happens. It's not just a motor that relies on the fact that the pellet goes down. There is an internal system that does a check if the pellet has been dispensed or not. Then we have the lights, and as you can see in the computer here, we have the lights and we have the revolvers for the tactile one. Now if we look at the lights in chamber 1, which is this one, you can see how you can configure them with red or with white or with orange or with a combination of all of them. When it comes to the revolvers, they will also change, and we will now show this in chamber 2. You can see that I can do, for example, the textures number 1 and 4, and you can see how it will rotate to actually position in that position. So as you can imagine, this is all automatized in a procedure where all of this happens automatically, depending on how we have programmed it. So last but not least, just to show you how the nose spokes, but also the door photo beams work, I will show you how on the input-output page this happens. These photo beams are used to make sure that the animal has actually entered one or the other chamber. So as you can see here, if I block these photo beams, the system shows it as blocked. Can you see it here? And the same happens here. Now I will put my fingers in the nose spoke, and you can see how this is broken, and you can see it on the PC. So now I am breaking the nose spoke, and this is basically when the animal does what I want to do. As you can see, we have an Ugo Basile Operon mode with some standard sub mode, which prepare animes already for working with this apparatus. Okay, and all the I/O devices are here, but nothing needs to be done because it is already pre-configured. But you still have here the possibility to see what is happening in the different switches which I showed you in the I/O selector. You still have keys to, for example, switch on the possibility to manually score grooming, for example, and you will assign a stroke like G when the activity is occurring, and then you have a test scheduling, and then you have some stages. And as you can see here is all the complexity that we were showing before. Here there are two habituation phases, a standard discrimination 1, a standard discrimination 2, a standard discrimination phase, a compound discrimination with reversal, and so forth, until to the more complex one, which is the extra dimensional with reversal. And in fact, all of this procedure, which is quite complex, comes already with the system. And you can see all the different variables that can be changed here. If you want to change the time elapsed or the maximum trials for stage that the animal can reach, or how many trials the animal has to reach to end the test. For example, in this case, if the animal does more than 2 consecutive emissions, the test ends, and so forth. So we will do another video where we will show you in practice how the Operon works with animals, but this was just to give you an introduction on how the system is assembled, how it is composed, what are the different components, and how it is completely driven by animals.